I'm doing something new this year with my business and a few of my products, something new for Black Friday and Cyber Monday. If you're interested in checking out what kind of offers I am giving you, go to ellerywells.com/Black Friday. Okay, today I wanted to talk with you just a few minutes about why I switched my website to WPEngine to host everything that I've got. And then the last couple of episodes or so, I've talked about all of the changes that have gone on inside my business over the last couple of months. It was Thrive was an instigator. It was a catalyst for change in my business. And since then, I've been making a lot of changes. And one of those changes is I went and I changed where my website was hosted. Literally, the servers that my website are stored on and the company that I pay for hosting. And that's what I wanted to talk about today. I was looking through this. I was like, is this really something that would be all right for podcast episode? Do listeners, instead of being able to read and scroll, would a listener get as much value out of this as possible? And you know what? Obviously, the answer is I think so. I hope so, because, we're here. But I was sitting here and thinking, okay, who are the people that have told me they listen to the show? What stage of business are those people in? And they're either most of you guys have websites. Most of you are growing those, but I bet you're probably sitting on some pretty crappy hosting. So in addition to why I moved to WPEngine from a different solution, I want to talk about some just hosting basics. And actually, I'll give you a link too. Let's see, what is that link? You know what? Go to ellerywells.com/YWPEngine. ellerywells.com/YWPEngine. And you'll find this link because I've got a link here, which under the section which hosting company is best. I've got a link to a Wikipedia article to this major company that owns a lot of popular hosting companies, other companies. So one company owns other companies, and they're all terrible. So go to ellerywells.com/YWPEngine. You'll see the notes, and you'll see that link, because I want to help you make an educated decision on where you spend your money. You can spend $15 on a domain. If it's not taken, someone's trying to price gouge you for it. You can spend $15 on a domain, but you'll spend $150 on hosting. Yeah, it's 3 years and all that, but you spend significantly more money on your web hosting than you do on your web address. And of course, WordPress is free and all that other stuff. We'll talk about the tech stack that I've got going here in a future episode. But today we're going to talk strictly hosting, why I switched, and how you can make a better decision about that. Roll credits, and we'll be right back. And remember, if you are looking for some deals on Black Friday stuff, I've got deals for books and some of my courses. Go to ellerywells.com/Black Friday, no hyphen or underscore, just ellerywells.com/Black Friday, and you'll get to see what kind of discounts and promotions that I will be running this year, something brand new, and you can check it out at ellerywells.com/Black Friday. So there are a lot of web hosting companies out there, a lot of WordPress hosting companies out there that are targeting you with ads and Facebook ads and all over the internet, trying to get you to spend your money with them. And finding the right one in these days can be fairly difficult. So which hosting company is best? Do you need to pay more than 99 cents a month, $1.99 a month, $3.95 a month, whatever it is? Do you need to pay more than that? And what's the difference between company A and company B and C and D? because remember, they're a dime a dozen, really. So while those questions are good ones and questions that I have asked myself, like I said before, this post isn't about that. But however, I'm going to give you some resources and address those questions very briefly, just so that we're all on the same page. But today in this podcast, I want to talk about why I've switched hosting companies 3 times in as many years. Do you know how much of a pain that is? And I do it all for you. And why I switched my website over to WPEngine, and why I think I might stay there and grow for many years to come. So when you're first getting started online, web hosting is one of your biggest expenses. As I mentioned just a second ago, you'll spend anywhere from 99 cents to $15 or so on your domain, and then hosting starts at $50 a year or more. So it is a significant expenditure in your brand new business, whether you do other free things or not. Usually you don't have free hosting. So choosing the right hosting company is actually fairly important, and you should do at least a little bit of research before plopping down some serious cash. So with that said, when I first got started, well, I chose the cheapest solution possible, and it was pretty bad. I won't tell you all about the details about bad support and how many times my website went out and down and people couldn't access it, but I will tell you that in many ways, and even when it comes to web hosting, choosing that hosting company and the option, which level of hosting within that company, you get what you pay for. So don't buy the cheapest hosting, or you'll get everything else that comes with that. So which hosting company is best? Well, I don't have an answer for that question, and I can make some recommendations, but I don't know your budget, I don't know your business, I don't know if you're selling subscriptions or doing e-commerce or what, but I will tell you the best hosting company is likely to be the one that has servers in the country where most of your site's traffic comes from. So if you're in the United States and most of your customers and clients and visitors and readers and viewers are also in the United States, get a server that's in North America. And that applies for anywhere around the world. Most companies actually have servers stored around the world. That's what a CDN sort of is. But get a hosting company in your home country. And I will go into more details about how to find that in 8 Weeks to Exit. So if you go to 8weekstoexit.com and enroll, I've got some training on how to find the right one. But my suggestion is to avoid any hosting company on a list that I have linked to at ElleryWells.com/YWPEngine. They're all owned by a major conglomerate called EIG, and everyone I know who's hosted with one of their subsidiary brands has hated the experience, myself included. That's why I don't use Bluehost anymore. Guys, I can't even, I took all branding and recommendations for Bluehost off of my website. There might be an errant link out there that I haven't found and removed, but I cannot recommend Bluehost to anybody. Their support is awful and their hardware is not even great. So anyway, I could rant on that for a minute, but I won't. But I will tell you to check out Green Geeks. So you don't have to necessarily pay more. I mentioned Bluehost. They're probably, if you go there, they do a really good job. Most of these companies do a good job of retargeting you, like with the Facebook Pixel and Google AdWords and those kinds of things, which again, we talk about in 8 Weeks to Exit, which may or may not have a Black Friday, Cyber Monday deal. I'm just saying. But you don't necessarily have to pay more. You can get set up with Green Geeks. Okay, where I was going was Bluehost does, most of these companies retarget you. And you might see them and they might be popular, and there are other people out there that recommend them. But you don't have to pay more than that to get better servers. So I discovered they were around way before me. I didn't discover them like whatever his name discovered Justin Bieber. It's not quite like that. But I discovered Green Geeks, and I've moved all of my company's servers over there. I would be using them for ElleryWells.com if I didn't. At the time, I've been emailing with a couple of of directors and their affiliate managers over the last couple of weeks since I published this post, actually. And they tell me they have a system that scales. But anyway, their support is not only based in North America, but they're not owned by EIG, and they have prices that are like sub $4 a month if you get a bulk plan. So now, like I said, I host all of my sites with them, and I have no complaints. Like most companies, Green Geeks has hosting plans starting under that $4 or $5 a month, but with them, you have the advantage of hosting your sites on servers that are powered by green and renewable energy. I don't know if that's a big deal for you. Honestly, for me, it's not that big of a deal, but that's where the green comes from in Green Geeks. But as of this moment, or when I wrote this anyway, I didn't know. I still am not quite clear if they have a managed hosting solution that's comparable to WPEngine, but anyway, that's more performance. But so here we go. What's the difference between Company A and Company B? What's the difference between, let's say, Green Geeks and Bluehost? One I cannot stomach, and the other one I highly recommend. Well, the big difference between most hosting companies, it's like the hostess with the mostest. There was an episode of The Simpsons a long time ago, and they had people over for like Thanksgiving dinner, and it was all meat, and it says one of the characters says, "Here's a toast to the host who can boast the most roast." Anyway, there's tongue. What am I trying to say? Tongue whatever. Maybe this will go in the outtakes. I don't know. There's things that will never mind. Anyway, the difference between these companies is how the support is handled and where it comes from. Find out who has support in your home country and think about using them. Not only do you need their support team to be awake when you're awake, but the language barrier when you're talking about technical stuff anyway, you don't want to deal with that. Both WPEngine and Green Geeks have 24/7 support that's located here in, I think it's in the United States. I know it's in North America, and that's where 90+% of my traffic comes from. If you're still thinking, well, who should I go to? Or again, go to elruels.com/ywpengine and look for, actually under this section, it says, there's a link that says, look at this list. And if one of the options that you're considering is on that subsidiary brand, like Bluehost, Fat Cow, HostGator, iPage, that's who I started off with for super cheap, avoid those companies, because their support is not here. Their Bluehost support I don't want to rant on them. Their support just got so bad over the time that I was using. So anyway, I chose WPEngine, and here's why. So paying $4 a month for hosting is one thing. Paying $29 a month is another matter entirely. Would you agree? $4 burger versus $29 burger. Well, $4 a month versus $29 a month for hosting are not really even in the same kind of conversation. But I didn't make that jump overnight and without a very good reason. If you guys looked at my software, if you guys looked at my tech stack, you know I don't just spend, like my wife would say, all willy-nilly. I don't spend all of my money all willy-nilly. I'm usually pretty smart about where I put my money and what I spend it on. But here's a brief overview of the last 5 years of web hosting and the companies that I use and how it went. So like I said, I started with iPage. I hated it. I switched to Bluehost within just about a year. I stayed with Bluehost until reliability, which is website uptime, like it doesn't go down. People can, visit your site, until that went to crap, and their support it just got worse and worse and worse. And then I finally realized I knew more about the tech stuff than most of their tech support team. And there's like 2 or 3 lines of tech support, and then you get to the engineers. I'm definitely no engineer, but I knew I'd learned because I broke my site and I was trying to fix what Bluehost had broken. I knew what their first 3 lines of tech support were able to do, and I was able to fix it on my own. When I learned I knew more than them, I was done. However, before I left Bluehost, I upgraded to their cloud business plan in preparation for being on Smart Passive Income with Pat Flynn. I was like, okay, I don't want my site to go down when I'm getting all of this traffic from Pat's awesome readers. If you're one of them, or listeners and readers, if you're one of them, thank you. but I didn't want my site to go down after that episode aired, so I went to a cloud business plan. So you're supposed to have better servers, and it's in the cloud. It's not ever supposed to go down. And I also added an SSL and a dedicated IP address to improve my user experience around e-commerce, because I knew I wanted to sell more transactional things. I didn't like how things were set up, and I wanted to keep people on my site for when they paid for things and started subscriptions and all that. Again, I will teach you how to do all of that stuff if you enroll in 8 weeks to exit. After I upgraded to the cloud business account with Bluehost, I was still having outages. There was no real increase in speed, and their support was still, oh man, I wish I had a funny analogy to tell you how awful it was, but they were still letting me down. So after all that, I switched to some private label cloud hosting. I saved some money, but I had to manage all of the technical aspects of that myself. Like, oh man, I was telling one of my clients the other day, he was like, so I'm in the back end of whatever. And I was like, yeah, that's the back end, but there's also a back end to that back end and another back end. When you visit a website, there's almost 10 layers of software between the actual hard drives, like the ones that you Western Digital or whatever, and what you're clicking around on the web. It's pretty crazy. But I was having to manage all of that except for the really technical stuff like Nginx and all that. I didn't get into that, but I was having to manage all of the technical aspects myself. And after repeated bad experiences with Bluehost, I was used to fixing these issues on my own and troubleshooting things that went wrong. Finally, after switching hosting plans like 3 times in 18 months, you would think that I got it right when I switched to my own private label cloud hosting, but no. After switching and still experiencing multiple outages and still having my site go down, which I didn't even think was supposed to happen with cloud-based hosting, and after my site speed never really got that much better, I finally, in, early fall, late summer of 2017, I decided to keep my eye out for alternatives. So, as you probably have guessed, there are still a lot of managed hosting companies. So it's not just, virtual private server, dedicated private server, or $4 a month. There are tiers in between that. And I know I don't want to manage the servers. I've done that stuff too with Plex. I think it's called Plex. Man, there's so much software. It's all software. If you want to get into business for yourself, start creating software. My gosh. Anyway, so why did I choose WPEngine after all of those? Well, the first one was speed. So I first noticed the speed of WPEngine when I logged into the WordPress account of one of my clients who uses them for hosting, or who uses WPEngine for hosting. Every single page seemed to load faster than anything that I was used to before. But I thought hers was a new website, and she only had a handful of posts and pages, and my site has been around for years, and I've got 600 plus blog posts and podcast episodes, so it makes sense that hers would be faster, right? Well, I thought so too. So I did a speed test on a published page with similar amounts of content, and she still won. Her site was faster. Was it an exact or perfect test? No, but I was slowly getting convinced. Before I move on, I want to tell you that everything is faster with WPEngine. Navigating my WordPress dashboard is faster, pages and posts load faster, images upload faster, backups back up faster. You get the idea. Plus, the backup, you just click a couple things in the WPEngine admin panel, and usually within 30 seconds, I get an email saying my entire site has been backed up, and I can redeploy it. It's pretty great. So the next reason why I switched to WPEngine was reliability. When things are stored in the cloud, they should never have connection issues. That's why when my site went down after being on cloud hosting, it boggled my mind. The whole meaning behind cloud hosting is that your site is distributed in the cloud and that your website should be stored on multiple servers so no single problem could cause a website to go down. Well, my sites continued to go offline with cloud hosting. WPEngine does one single thing. They provide managed hosting for websites built with WordPress. They don't have different options. They don't mess with other content management platforms. They just host WordPress sites, and they do it really well. Since signing up for the personal plan, moving my site over, I haven't had a single issue. The next thing is security. If you choose to host your website with WPEngine, one thing you'll have to adjust to is having other administrators poking around in your WordPress installation. But even though I was like, what, do I really want that? It's a good thing. By having access to your website, the managed part of, I did air quotes there, you didn't see that, the managed part of managed hosting, which is by letting them have access to your site, their team can monitor for issues and disable plugins that might be causing issues. They also let you know when the new WordPress updates are available, and you can choose whether to delay them, when to update them, all that kind of stuff. So they make sure that, you've got it all straight away. They also have a list of disallowed plugins that they know either interfere with what you're already paying them for, or can cause a security issue or slow down your site. Like they know all this stuff. They test these plugins. They look at all of the installs of all of the websites, and they tell you. Actually, when I had one plugin, I had installed it. It was like find the broken link checker, and I had added it, and I wanted to see if I had any broken links, links internally or externally on my site. And I knew it was disallowed, but I put it on there anyway. And well, I'll tell you about that here in just a second. But they monitor your site for all of these bad things, the security, whatever, speed, whatever. And these were all areas that I was kind of willing to give up a little bit of control for improved performance. Okay, now what happened with this broken link checker plugin? After 48 hours, I hadn't even been on their platform all that long, and I got an email. And they said, hey, we've discovered that this plugin is on your site. It's one of the ones that we know decreases performance. And, we want to give you a week or so. I think it was about a week before we go in and manually disable that plugin. So they knew what plugins I was using. They scanned my site. I don't know the technical bits of it, but they said, this isn't optimal. This isn't great. Here's an alternative. We suggest you use this. So they include that in this list of disallowed plugins. Anyway, and then they gave me some time to fix it. So the last thing that I wanted to point out, the last great thing about WPEngine, and this only has improved in the last, I haven't even been on, okay, maybe I've been on their system a month. I wrote this post just under a month ago. Anyway, the last thing that I will talk about is the quality and the responsiveness of their support. You know the saying, people don't quit jobs, they quit bosses? Well, the same thing is for hosting companies. We don't quit our servers, we quit the crappy support team that supports those servers. One thing I always look for in any company I use is the ability to have chat support. I don't have time to sit on hold waiting for a company to pick up the phone, and email support is just annoying and slow. It's very annoying. With WPEngine, I rarely wait for more than 60 seconds to get a support agent via their chat box. Usually it's less than 10 seconds. I guess paying $29 a month for service instead of $2.99 pays for more than just servers. And I'm doing some pretty technical stuff with my security. So you probably won't, unless you're trying to do something stupid on my site, like you shouldn't be. You might get like a 403 error, not a 404. A 403 is like a connection. Like I have blocked your IP address, but that's only if you're trying to get into the admin panel, and you shouldn't be doing that anyway. So I've been on the chat with their support team. I don't think I've ever been on the phone, actually. I haven't needed to. Their support team has been fantastic. I've talked to their team in Austin and in San Antonio, and they've helped me with some really technical stuff, and it's all been through chat, and it's been fantastic. So in some areas of my business, I've gone without support because I could do whatever needed to be done myself. Well, there are still times when support is actually needed, and having to wait 18 hours to hear from someone via email or wait 45 minutes on hold is absolutely unacceptable. Poor support is one of the reasons I left iPage in 2013, and poor support is one of the reasons I left Bluehost in, I think, 2016. So after all this wonderful stuff, if you love it so much, why don't you marry it? I haven't heard that in a long time. Anyway, there is a downside to WPEngine, and I bet at this point that what we've talked about has seemed like a paid ad from them, and I promise it's not, but I got it after I signed up for them, and I was extremely satisfied. I do have an affiliate relationship with the company. Honestly, I'm not gonna try to cover that up, because I get affiliate relationships with companies whose products and services I believe in. And of course, you know this by now, I don't recommend anything that I don't use myself and have thoroughly vetted this stuff. So I do have an affiliate partnership with WPEngine. It's ElleryWells.com/WPEngine. But I only set that up after I'd already told a dozen people about how much I was enjoying their service. But the last thing that I want to mention is the cost of WPEngine. Hosting plans start at $29 a month, and that's not cheap, especially when compared to the $3.95 a month that, for example, you could get through Green Geeks. But the people who get good performance and who are satisfied with a shared hosting plan, like for $3.95 a month, if that's working for you, if you don't have any problems with that, you don't need something like WPEngine. For example, most shared hosting companies, or this maybe put it in perspective for you, most shared hosting companies, although they boast an unlimited space and bandwidth, they really don't like it when you start pulling in large amounts of traffic and data. And ElleryWells.com isn't even that big, but I still use 10 to 15 times more bandwidth than any of my other client sites. It's probably close to like 100 times, because most blog posts are fairly small and they don't have any blog posts and they're just not getting that much traffic. And my site's not even that huge. I'm not saying that. But that's one of the reasons why I initially started having problems with Bluehost. Is I didn't know anything about optimizing images or making sure they were the right size or compression or any of that stuff that I teach in 8 Weeks to Exit. I didn't know any of that, and that's when I started having problems with them, and they would throttle my site. They would reduce the number of processing cores dedicated to serving up my information, and either loading times would be like 4 or 5 times longer than they should have been, or my site would just completely go down. So again, that if you're okay with your $4 a month, which all of my other sites are, ElleryWells.com is the only site I own that's on this platform. But there's also another reason for that. WPEngine also charges for every single installation of WordPress you have. That's part of the reason why I have suspended my membership subdomain, because I did not want to pay another $15 or $30 a month for that. I was thinking about this. I still would have made money, but I just didn't want to. That's a lot of money on hosting that I didn't necessarily have to spend. So I shut that down, and I had a separate installation for my landing pages, and that would have been another 15 or 30, whatever it was. And then I had another one for where all of the lessons for 8 Weeks to Exit were stored. So now all of that is moved to one single WordPress installation on ElleryWells.com, and it's still faster. So you tell me, if you've noticed my site getting faster over the last 2 or 3 months, or maybe you haven't, I don't know. I'd love to hear your feedback. Am I getting ripped off for $29 a month, or have you noticed a speed boost as well? So anyway, now I have one WordPress install, and I consolidated every other installation into one, and I set up a tiered pagination system so I could save having to pay like $70 or $80 a month for hosting. I know, I'm not cheap, not frugal, I'm smart with my money. So to wrap all that up, all in all, I am very happy with WPEngine. Nothing has changed. I'm probably more happy with them now after I've had their service for more than a month than I was for the first month. And even though I'm paying more for web hosting than ever before, after the speed boost, I'm saving $50 a year for CDN costs. I used to have a Key CDN, and there's Max CDN, and now I'm using a free integration with Cloudflare. CloudFront, I think, is the Amazon thing with Cloudflare. And I also get a free included SSL on ElleryWells.com, and that saves me another $7,500 a year. So in the end, I think my cost only increased about, I said $2 a month in the post. I think it's actually closer to $6 a month. But for all of the benefits that I'm getting, I am absolutely 100% okay with that. And again, if you'd like to try WPEngine, just go to ElleryWells.com/WPEngine. So who do you host your sites through? And why did you choose them? If you went to ElleryWells.com/YWPEngine and you click through and you saw that list of EIG subsidiaries, are you hosting with one of them? How do you like it? Do they suck? If they do suck, check out either WPEngine if you've got a pretty high traffic site. If you've got less than 1,000 visitors a month, I would definitely recommend going to Green Geeks because A, they're responsive, B, they're here in North America, and I can't say anything bad about them. So anyway, just a quick reminder, go to ElleryWells.com/YWPEngine for all of this information and all of the links. And if you've been thinking about enrolling in Inbox Secrets, or you're kind of curious about what Inbox Secret is, I wish I had like some chimes, some mystery noises about Inbox Secrets. Or if you've been thinking about getting into 8 Weeks to Exit, but you missed the first class. Or if you've been thinking, you know what, I probably need to buy Exit Strategy and I'm looking for a deal to where maybe I can get several of these and start my own little book club with other people who are successful at work but honestly kind of miserable and want to get out of here. Go to ElleryWells.com/Black Friday. Enter more spooky music and put in your email address and I will notify you when those deals go live. Hint, it's on Black Friday. Spoiler alert. My Black Friday deals are on Black Friday. Anyway, I'll let you know and you'll be the first to know so you can get in on those. Just for an example, after the first 8 Weeks to Exit, I think was $4.99. The price now is $7.99. And the coupon, if you go to ElleryWells.com/Black Friday, I will give you a coupon code to get it for $549, $250 off of that awesome class. We actually have a class tonight, so that's pretty awesome. So that's all for today. Let me know what you think about hosting. I'd love to get that conversation started over in the Empowered and Equipped Facebook group from Round Rock, Texas, where it's like cold today. It rained yesterday and it was cold today. I guess winter is a-coming. So anyway, from Round Rock, Texas, I'm your host, Ellery Wells, and this is the Ellery Wells Show, where real entrepreneurs share real solutions to real problems so that you can grow your business. I hope you have an awesome day. Inside of my business, I think just towards when we left Vegas for Thrive, we're gonna talk strictly about health, and it backs up your website pretty quick. Can I say the right things? They don't mess with other content management platforms.